And also, I think my sort of the observation, the recent development of Tibetan medical system, it seems quite clear now. In certain illness, for certain illness, especially what we call chronic illnesses, the Tibetan medicine usually is work quite well. Quite often, some patient who had even very expensive sort of treatment, but then still the problem there. Then after taking Tibetan medicine on longer period, then sometimes good result happen. Of course, we can't say it's 100%, but there are often, you see, such cases that happen. Then according to my own experience also, as a preventive measure, the Tibetan medicine really works very effective.
Earth, water, air, fire, and space are the 5 great elements. All material phenomena, inanimate or animate, contain relative proportions of these basic elements as their material basis. In the Tibetan medical view, these great elements are also cosmic energies, where earth signifies the principle of solidifying or formation, water the principle of cohesion, fire maturation, and wind growth and space. The essence of health is harmony. Harmony is regarded as the perfect state of balance where all elemental energies rest in equilibrium within the human microcosm. Health is the subtle dance of microcosm resonating with the macrocosm. When they are out of step with each other, disharmony results, disease occurs. They are out of step then with the essential spiritual reality that keeps them moving. The Tibetan art of healing is based on balance. Balance between the body and its resonances with the outer world. Within the body, this balance has been described as the 3 principal energies that will determine the state of health. Physiologically, the body consists of the 3 humors or nipas. The 3 humors are the biological manifestations of the 5 cosmic energies and are considered to arise from the 3 basic afflictions, which are desire, hatred, and obscuration. These arise in turn from ignorance of the manner in which phenomena actually exist. The 3 humors are Lung, Tipa, and Bakan. These 3 are sometimes, but not wholly satisfactorily, translated as wind, bile, and phlegm.
Lungi tsani zubjin yawa tangshin tala sashin yawa se chuk tsang ina lung si yor de lung lau chogo ma de lung la dang zai kha re yawa se lung dang zai gang bu khang de de ba la da ti kha ri nyom go wa se na juwa nga ba de je se ti je nyom go wa de ti jun ju lam de ti je nyom go wa de ti ma nyom chen ene ya pe du go de ba la ya pe ti ne go re pe wa ti dang zai ti ne pe wa ti ne go re 다 되네 마차서나 내정어리 세버리고
비심도 있라 제일 일이 되는 소견도
아 그게 정말 노로 접시하는 저리 지금 안에 소리가 제베살라 타다 롱드네 아 Yeah. Shukchum Damson Damason. Oh. Then you want to say, she don't get to be water. The any long chiba pagan sing joke. There's a lot in a long, she don't let in a chiba, the wound in a pagan. The chance to do the shabu, Chicabuchi, the letter Revala. Tana can be even. Down. Poor Chaya will make a sort of tongue. Chaz and the poor man don't try to tell much survey.
Thank you.
That long to know by in the call, not here the Canadian Yagayota. That you want me coming till a Tibet see what it. Tibet and the rank Sandra Kang see what the Tibet and said. Tibet and you know, your notions are young, tell them tuition show us and the Tibet and you see what it. Later by the Tibet and you see what it. Tibet and you share in the Tibet and you don't know your notions are young, tell you want me come to New Betty. 是吧？如果对面前能谈这些破壁破个存在了推荐的，那得七八千的嘛的，这的当时的大大单位呢，那才可以用嘛的，是吧啦？
A person exists, in addition to the above, as an aggregation of form, feeling, recognition, volition, and primary consciousness.
और नीचे जलन आता है तलवार में अब ये 1 मिनट लीजिए खास करके तेल चाहिए कम कीजिए और तेल में फ्राई किया हुआ एकदम कम कीजिए ठीक है ये ज़्यादा खाने से भी पेट में गरम ज़्यादा take it
Again, the sad children, so June such children, do never chimbo you are. You never in a tiny pagans and you know, so what you do, jam, then Jabba Jan to chess, Janet, do you shave you are the
In the 8th century, in the region of Samye, the process of codification began. The Gyuji was written by the elder Yutok Gonpo, who lived from 708 to 833 AD. Peerless amongst healers, Yutok exemplified the combined ideal of the Tibetan healer and the accomplished man of religion, who was also well versed in the healing sciences and who brought the wisdom and compassion from the former to the latter. The Gyuji was an indispensable component of the practitioner. In far-flung corners of the Tibetan plateau, the Gyuji traveled on horseback and by foot, and the knowledge of medicine spread. During the great 5th Dalai Lama, his regent Desi Sangye Gyatso One day, on his usual round of circumambulating the Lhasa Jowo, in the year 1696, he set up the first medical college at Lhasa, Chagpuri. Tibet has been invaded, occupied, and annexed by the People's Republic of China. This Chinese Communist government has made a systematic effort to exterminate Tibetan religious belief and cultural identity, resulting in the deaths of over 1 million Tibetans. It has destroyed all but 13 of Tibet's 6,267 significant monasteries. It has established large colonies of Chinese settlers throughout Tibet, defended by up to 500,000 troops, whose presence and abuse of land, wildlife, and natural resources have badly damaged the fragile Himalayan ecosystem. The Dalai Lama came to India, carrying on his young shoulders the burden of preserving the ancient wisdom of his land in exile. Over the last 46 years, many institutions have been replicated. Mensi Khang, or the Tibetan Astro-Medical Institute at Dharamshala, is one such institution.
In 1961 itself, we started taking college students, and today we are very happy that one of our students is still here working with us for the past 38 years. It is because of the sheer hard work, sincerity, and the service of our previous old workers that today we are able to expand our operation in this proportion. We have today somewhere around 120 to 110 doctors working under us. We have 13 to 15 astrologers working with us. They are sincerely working for the well-being of the people at large and communities in India as well as Nepal. Medicine as well as astrology. The course for them is 5 years theory and 1 year practical. So in total it comes somewhere around 6 years. Then we have somewhere around 8 to 10 doctors who are professors and lecturers in college. After graduation, we take them as our internship and doctor, graduate doctor. So mostly they are employed in our institution. They serve this institution because they know that serving mankind is their main motto. Despite constraints, they gladly accept this offer and serve in this institution. We send them to different locations and different places to serve the patients who are in need of our service.
Feeling the pulse is a unique diagnostic technique. It has been likened to a voice shouting instructions from across a vast, windy meadow. With the help of various characteristics of the pulse, the physician can determine the abnormal state of each organ or its components related to psychophysical problems. There are different modalities for females and males: hot and cold, humoral pulses, constitutional pulse. A typical reading could go like: the left hand upper section of the index finger reads the lungs. The lower section reads the large intestine. The upper section of the middle finger reads the liver. There are even 3 types of pulse characteristics reflecting the nature of an individual: the female, male, and the neutral pulse. An untrained practitioner might mistake the female pulse for a Tipa disease, the male for a Lung disorder, and the neutral for a Bakan disease. The pulse also created a physical intimacy with the patient, a feeling of individual care and involvement. Further to the pulse, interrogation involved asking the mainly 20 standard questions related to the symptoms indicated in the tree of health and disease of the Gyuji. Urine analysis was the original diagnostic contribution that the Tibetans made. They were famous for reading the signs and patterns in the urine, which they believed reflected the internal state of the body like a burnished mirror. The physician beats and stirs, shakes and leaves to settle. He may even feel it on his tongue if necessary for taste. He looks at the vapor, bubbles, smell and sedimentation, color and scum, and classifies it into whatever state of humoral imbalance there may be in the patient's body.
According to the 3 humors, we go to see which is in these organs. It's in the liver, or it's in the kidney, or it's in the heart. If we feel that it's in the heart or something in the liver or gallbladder, mainly we see the color is yellow or it's in a little more red in color.
Accessory practice included medicated incense inhalation from instruments such as this to alleviate the sufferings of lung-related diseases, psychiatric, sinusitis, and many others. This instrument is mainly for inhaling certain medications for a patient who needs inhalation or massaging. Dr. Pema Dorje is treating a woman in Siliguri, West Bengal. She has come from remote Arunachal Pradesh, almost 1,000 miles away, with a chronic problem of schizophrenia and related physical symptoms. The doctor is using a special moxibustion technique.
तो ये जगह में ऑपरेशन किया था, ऑपरेशन किया और उसको बाद में बहुत जगह में डॉक्टर दिखाया था, ठीक बिल्कुल नहीं हुआ। तो बाद में लास्ट में 2 साल जैसे हो गया सर, तो यहाँ में ले गया था। अरे सर ये तरह कि आप इनकी फिल्म कर दो, राम कृष्ण,
He is using points known as the Tibetan 1st and 6th and 7th vertebrae. A special wooden moxa stick is heated by friction and applied. Also, at the point measured exactly between the 2 tips of breast. For 1,000 years, the wheel of the dharma and medicine has turned. The golden hammer was an archaic system of cauterization which brought immediate relief from mainly lung and cold disorders. Pain and relief were the primary concern of all physicians. Here, Dr. Choidrak treats a patient in the classical way. The tip of the instrument is gently heated and applied to the concerned point. However, it is continuously emphasized that even these types of treatment may only be used when all other forms of medication, including behavioral changes, have not proved effective. The theory of human construction was illustrated in the Gyuji with the simile of the fig tree. This tree of disease and health has 3 roots, 9 trunks, 47 branches, 224 leaves, 2 flowers, and 3 fruits. Health and long life are the 2 flowers, spiritual development, wealth, and happiness, the 3 fruits. Dr. Tamdin is practicing the ancient art of the golden needle. This technique is believed to predate Chinese acupuncture and is generally used in acute cases of migraine, dizziness, and bakan. The tip of the golden needle lightly pierces the scalp and the moxa herb is heated. The needle is removed after the herb burns out, and the requisite heat is transferred to the point of application. Therapy, modalities, classification of disease were illustrated for easy visual reference for the practitioners. The accessory therapy trunk enumerated wind diseases or lung. It specified the treatment here. Phlegm disorders also sometimes warranted hot application and moxibustion. Bile disorders required therapies such as the kumi massages, cold water bottle fermentation, also venesection. Tradition held that the Sakyamuni Buddha himself taught medicine. In a mystical transformation, he took on the form of the medicine Buddha Vaidurya or Menla. Most pleasing to look at, his radiant body is the azure blue of lapis lazuli. In his lap rests his alms bowl of life-sustaining nectar, his right hand stretched out in the gesture of giving, holding the great medicine, the myrobalan plant. For the Tibetan physician, devotion to Menla opened up intuitive, sympathetic, compassionate resonances within himself to aid in his functions as a healer. No physician ever did anything without homage to this most supreme of physicians. His mantra was chanted while gathering herbs, making medicine, and while administering the medicine. Amchi gathers his own herbs and makes his own medicines. The high altitudes seem to imbue the plants with characteristics that are unique to the Tibetan plateau. The presence of curative herbs at the roof of the world has been known from the time of the pre-Buddhist Bon period of Tibet. Medicinal plants share the specific qualities and nature of the 5 great elements from which they are formed. Earth, the base, moisture from water, the heat of the fire for maturation, air, the energy for growth, and the space allowing room for growth. Medicinal substances abound even in the seemingly barren land, in little niches on the surface of rocks. Each element relates with the taste of a particular substance. Here, earth and air are predominant, so the substances may assume an astringent taste. There are around 2,300 natural substances that the Tibetan healers use to compound their medicines. An element or combination of elements in the medicinal substance will have that specific healing quality vis-à-vis the humor to which it is related. The Gyuji states that every substance on earth, because it shares in the nature of elements, will have a medicinal value. When Jivaka, the great Buddhist physician, was studying in Takshila, his master Atreya sent him with his colleagues to find a substance which could not be used for healing. Only Jivaka returned empty-handed because he realized that everything was permeated with healing qualities. The Tibetan doctor is more interested in maintaining samaya with his Vaidurya guru than in convincing anybody, for that aids his healing skills. Maintaining concentration, even the mere arrangement of medicinal substances on a tray may become the making of a mandala. Chopping or pulverizing, as the formula dictates, no matter how laborious, must be carried out without allowing the intrusions of negative thoughts or emotions. All things are interconnected, so all things may be used to rebalance the disharmony of illness.
Chida di indu zamba danda nga zo moment zo chigi rere nala ta nyumba dhamira mangbu yore de ina ta chik domi undu zamba 안 뉴바직 간라야 지용제 아니 지기 평균 다 야구 연구를 해서 모두.
In Mensi Kang's modern facility, a wide range of medicines are manufactured which are sent to their various clinics all over India and its neighboring countries.
나도 백인지라 찾아보이나 백인 코랑 랑싱디 가르에서는 치외 랑싱 사주 랑싱 차대고 그랬어. 다디 인도자마 따면 맨데는 중화 사주 랑싱디 그런 백인 땅 말는 그건 나자데 폐용.
Precious pills made at Mensi Kang follow formulae said to date back to the Kala Chakra teaching of Sakyamuni Buddha himself. Sometimes over 65 different ingredients are used.
Where we produce somewhere around 250 to 270 different kinds of medicine. Then we get these raw materials, some from Indian merchants, some from people who collect it, and we ourselves send our workers and students where they go to identify the plants. We collect little amount of herbs. So this way we collect our raw material. Then when we prepare the medicine, we always keep into account the quality, and the best quality that is prevalent. We try to go for that because we know that medicine is very important. It is directly related with human beings, so it has to be very, very careful, and under the guidance and control of senior personal physician, Dr. Tenji Chata, we prepare these medicines. Where we go into research first and then go for trial, and once we establish, we have the production. At the moment we have somewhere around 8 to 12 different products. They are like incense, herbal tea, then soric cream, etc., etc. We have concentrated, or we have tried to concentrate ourselves to those areas where we have Tibetan concentration, but we have not forgotten the patients of different origin or different country. We have in Kathmandu, we have in Delhi, we have branch in Bangalore, Calcutta, and major Indian cities. So in a way, we are doing really good as far as patient service is concerned. And yes, medicine, the cost of our medicine is deliberately kept low despite rising prices of the raw materials. And then we have a policy where we give concessions to old and infirm people, then monks and nuns and other weak person in the society. So this is in fact our policy. Our aim is to serve the mankind, and we are a social, cultural and educational institution, so we don't go into economic terms. Well, we have to think of our survival, but then business is not our motto. Service is our motto, and our doctors throughout deal with patients with compassion, love and kindness and the care.
Sorry? 아주 주는 자식이래. 딸기 생각이 주는 가져요. But long run, and also the Tibetan medicines, I think one of the good aspect is they usually we take Tibetan medicine with the consideration of the patient's sort of whole body situation. So the medicine, taking the medical sort of care is more holistic way. So through that way, less side effect. And then, as I mentioned earlier, in certain sort of field, the Tibetan medicine really, as a preventive measure, excellent result. Then, when you practice, usually the physician, also the religious person or believer. So, and also some the Buddhist teaching, Buddhist sort of the scriptures also, have some the explanation about how to sustain good health, and some medicines also is mentioned. So therefore, when the people practice some religious concept, also bring.
The dorje and the bell are the central symbols of Vajrayana or Tibetan Buddhism. Putting it simply, the bell was symbolic of the state of mind beyond all worldly projections. The enlightened emptiness, the Vajra or the dorje, was the symbolic application of discriminative wisdom after realizing the blissful state. The monks were invoking the Dorje Purba or the Vajra Kilaya deity. The wrathful aspect of the deity emphasized his fierce and ruthless methods of destroying negative forces, making way for the positive to manifest. Mantric vibration would in turn purify the medicine. This concentrated sanctified medicine or the blessed pills are then given to the people who seek audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama during private audience. The same method is used in preparing Mani Rilbu by invoking Avilokiteshvara. Laymen use the sanctified medicine as a preventive measure to purify body, mind and soul from further contamination, both physical as well as psychic. The mantra and the ritual would concentrate the mind towards positive thought, free from existential taints, This in turn would benevolently transmute to the medicine. The medicine would be charged then with the good intentions and efforts of the worshipper, who internalizes the substance, and by the act of worship transforms it from a mere material substance into something living, full, and giving it thus is also giving of himself in devotion. The mandala was the representation of an ideal state of mind. The intricacies and detail on grains of sand was a symbol of the state of mind that the worshippers had hoped to achieve through the ceremony. On completion or cessation, this too must lapse back in the primordial state of void from where it came. A state where form exists on the verge of manifestation. The astro-sciences for calendar making, astronomy, astrology and mathematics touch many aspects of Tibetan life. Their tradition has spread from Tibet to so-called Outer and Inner Mongolia, Manchuria, East Turkestan, the Soviet regions of Buryatia, Kalmykia and Tuva, and all other areas of Tibetan cultural influence in Central Asia, China, and the Himalayan regions of India, Nepal and Bhutan. All medical students must study the astro-sciences to a certain level, although astro students are not required to study medicine.
This board itself. So when you have to do certain multiplication, so in Western style you use certain numbers put in here, and then we put certain here, and then we multiply the thing. But in our system, we usually, if you have to multiply something, say 2, 2, and 5, you have to multiply by 12. We're not going to keep here as we do in other calculations. So instead, we put it here, and then 1 to 2, and 2 to 4, then 1 to 2, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 5 to 10. So it's very convenient, and also it saves a lot of time, a lot of paper. So it's very useful. So all the multiplication, all the addition, subtraction, everything are done on this board.
This science presents the calculations for the ephemeris, to give the position of the planets, as well as those for making the calendar and predicting eclipses. It also includes the astrological calculations for personal horoscopes, as well as for the information found in the Tibetan yearly almanac concerning which days are auspicious or not for starting various activities, including the right season and the time to gather herbs and medicines.
So it gives all information, I could say that, from life beginning till the life ends. And we have here that the Western date and also the corresponding Tibetan dates. And then we have here magic square numbers from along the system of astrology. And then we have 9 planets which will be ruling each by each for the person's whole life. So for this case, we have beginning ascending node and ending at Mars. And here we have the 12 zodiac, which shows in general about individual health, finances, friends, then enemy, children, family life, spiritual life, and then work, gains and loss and everything. So we have here the interpretations for all this calculation done over here. So this is a chart of one individual. Okay, for the general amulet, we have all the mantras for protection is already written here. This what I have here is the general one, and later we fold with this, like this way, and we keep completing the folding. And which resembles 5 different elements. So we have yellow for earth, green for wood, and then we have blue for water, red for fire, and we have white for metal. So usually for general amulets, since it's a yellow with a manjushri, we have yellow as the center. So so for different person, maybe different color of cover for the amulet. So this amulet can be, the special one can be, made for any kind of purposes. So we also make amulet for, good luck, for good health, for to relate from life obstacles, and also we make this kind of thing to bring, better relation, in the family or among couples. So we make amulets for, a variety of reasons.
The Tibetan medical system itself, often emphasize the importance of the sincere motivation, the physician side. So the practice of compassion or sense of caring, and especially when they sort of, as a meeting with patients, the genuine sort of sense of caring and sense of concern about the patient is extremely important.
Compassion. The study of compassion was the entire preoccupation. To achieve the level of skillful compassion, compassion that was impersonal, required an attitude that does not come easily to the egotistical human being. Years of training in monasteries, rigorous retreats, memorizing weighty texts, begins a process that is the ideal of the Vajrayana Buddhist, a process that strenuously seeks to transform the delusion of the ego into a larger, more integral state of mind, where subject and object would merge into the blissful realms of non-duality.
I think every field, both sides, showing or actually having the genuine human warmth, then immediately, interact or the connections immediately become warm and sound and something very positive. If that's not there, even between the teacher and the student, in I think every field, without a human feeling, then it almost automatically becomes very cold and very dry.
Dialectics and debate were one way of proceeding in a step-by-step process which gradually stripped away the veils that prevented the adept from a clear vision of reality, where all phenomena could be viewed with equanimity, beyond avarice, beyond greed, beyond petty considerations of temporal man.
This is the line. A doctor can achieve Buddhahood. Like in daily practice, if you see a patient, if a patient comes to you, it is not necessary to see who he is, from where he is. It's not necessary. What we have to do is, you have to see the suffering or disease of that patient. You have to concentrate your mind that a person, sick person is coming to you for a favor. And if you could understand, if you could concentrate your mind on the suffering of the patient, on the basis of this suffering, you can develop a compassion.
If the physician really shows concern and I think I usually call human spirit, then you say, according to my own experience, then I usually feel, oh, now should be okay. I can totally rely on his advice, his or her advice or the treatment. But the physician side, the way of expression is such cool and not much sort of human feeling, only just as a profession way. Then sometimes I myself also sometimes feel little cool or a little uncomfortable. So that's, I think, human nature. And I think system, I think, although it is very ancient, seems, I think, still very relevant to today's world. So my hope is there's a different sort of medical system, like allopathic medical system and Tibetan medical system. Actually, I think the Tibetan medical system is, I think, developed on the basis of Indian system, Chinese system, then I think Unani or something from I think the Middle East side is developed, and then local Tibetan ancient medical system, all according to the medical sort of history, the Tibetan medical history. I think 8th century there was some kind of I think the international seminar on medicine. So participant Chinese, Indian, some I think the Persian, and the local Tibetan physician. So therefore, it is something I think they synthesized, I think, the system. And still, I think the more sort of research, more synthesis according to with the allopathic medicine, I think would be, I think, useful. So that's my sort of view.